What a victory for the Arkansas Razorbacks as they get it done 24-10 in their final game of the season. Now, we're doing things a little differently, as you have noticed. We usually start our Hog Reaction show following the Learfield broadcast, but we wanted to give you guys and gals some instantaneous reaction to what we saw on the field today. So we're not on terrestrial radio, but we are on Hit That Line's social media accounts: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So you're welcome, just like a normal show, to call or text in at 877-377-6963. You can also comment like you always can: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I'm a very happy man. Had a great New Year's Eve last night. Hope everyone else did as well. I just want to give a special shout out to my friends. Almost said Spencer Doherty and Erica Rodriguez, but it's now Spencer and Erica Doherty. Congrats to you both. Had a great time at the wedding last night. And for those down in Tampa, man, y'all were loud. Opening drive, Penn State. I'm sitting next to my buddy Tim McNally at Papa's Pizza, and you could hear and feel the energy inside of Raymond James Stadium. And I'll give Penn State credit. It looked like their fans were loud as well, but to both fan bases who made the trip, who made the journey down to Raymond James and Tampa for this, not just this weekend, not just this game, but a lot of you may have gone as kind of a late Christmas type of trip. Congratulations, because I think it paid off, and especially if you're an Arkansas Razorback fan. But again, 24-10 is the final. We're going to be reacting 30, 45 an hour, just kind of depending on how much feedback and stuff we're getting. We're already getting a bunch of text, a bunch of comments on our streaming. And again, this is not on radio. This is not on ESPN Arkansas. It's just on our social media accounts. So this is your last, or not your last chance, because we're going to be reacting. I don't want to lie to you. We're going to be reacting on the Morning Rush, Halftime, Rusk and Zach all next week. And maybe this is the first time that you've really been introduced to Hit That Line in ESPN Arkansas. Maybe you're on your social media page. You might be out of kind of our normal listening area, whether you're not in Harrison or Northwest Arkansas, or maybe you're a Central Arkansas guy or gal. Maybe you're Northeastern Arkansas. Maybe you're out of the state. We really appreciate you jumping in with us to reacting to Arkansas's win. Kind of a puzzling game, and there's a lot that we need to get into. I did really appreciate the way Malik Hornsby was running the football down the stretch, and I talked about how he is a little Lamar Jackson in him. He has a very quick stop on a dime movement about him, which is so difficult as a defensive back when you're trying to chase down a guy that runs, I think Malik runs he's got to run a 4.3, right? Every time that he gets in the game, you have a broadcaster that says he's the fastest guy on the team, and the way he runs, I'd be hard-pressed to argue with that statement from anyone. If Coach Pittman is telling them that, there's a probably good chance that it's true and that he is the fastest guy on the team. Johnny Cash texted in, not the real Johnny Cash, as we know, but he texted in and says, "Woo pig, someone turn that damn jukebox up." Man, not only did we see it out on the water in Tampa, Florida, we saw it in the second half. Not so much the first half. Maybe in the first quarter, you get a missed field goal, and then we are just pounding the ball. Arkansas is just running it down their throat, and then KJ throws that pick. Warren Thompson didn't come back to the ball. He just kind of waited on it, and safety or cornerback, whoever it was, made a great play, picked KJ off. It was kind of puzzling at times to see the quarterback play from both teams. The interceptions, a good amount of balls on the ground and interception this game, 4 total between the two quarterbacks. And Greg Brooks had one of the best interceptions of the year. One-handed, Odell'd it, went up and snagged it, and made a great play on the ball. But I just think think about this, the toughest schedule in all of college football, a schedule that was described by many as, Arkansas, they'd be lucky to get 5 wins, lucky to get 6. I said 6 wins, and I went on the low side. And man, oh man, and I said 6 regular season. I want to make sure I get that in there. Man, oh man, I am happy to be sitting here on January the 1st, New Year's Day, and be 100% wrong. Because this team, under Sam Pittman's leadership, just refused to look at the optics heading in and just blew the doors off. Now, they had some duds. I don't want to lie to you. The Auburn game is still the most puzzling game of the season to me. How that second half played out, there was no energy. They played very lethargic. Georgia game, kind of understandable, beat up. Georgia, we saw what they did to Michigan last night. Anyone watched that game? Holy cow. That's what happens when a Big Ten plays an SEC opponent that wants to be there. Penn State. Now, I'm kind of curious. Dotson's in. If they have those guys, what does that game look like? We'll never know. We just know that Arkansas won 24-10 without all those guys coming out. But it is nice to beat a Big Ten team. And let's not forget, now, while Penn State's not Alabama, they're not Ohio State, they're kind of in that second tier, middle tier of dominant blue blood programs. I put them as like a Florida-ish. If we're having to like talk about an SEC, is that I would think a pretty good comparison if we're trying to kind of apples. And I know Florida's won a national championship in both 2008 and then 2006. I can't tell you the last time Penn State has won a national championship outside of it being under Joe Paterno, but I kind of put them in that second-tier blue blood category if there is a thing. It's kind of where we're at. You're welcome to jump in on the conversation. It's 877-377-6963. You can also, again, comment on our restream, on our live stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Mark's texting, he says he's going to drink him a nice cold Coors Light for Coach. And what he's referring to is the old beer picture with Sam Pittman back in his playing days at Pitt State, and when he sit on the sideline at his spring game, he's got that ice cold Coors Light there. I think a lot of fans are excited on how this game played out. And I know he was pumped. I mean, you saw from different coverage down there how excited fans were to be in Tampa, to be in this bowl game, and you saw it come out in the second half from this football team. They were excited. They were playing with an energy. Hopefully KJ is okay. That he took a brutal hit. I mean, got upended after a great one. He just kept pounding them in the second half. Great. I mean, Kendall Browse just must have told the offense of line, we're going with you in the second half. That's all we're going to do. And it worked. They didn't have to do much at all. It was just easy peasy, lemon squeezy, go, go, go. And it worked. It absolutely worked. They didn't have to do much. Eddie from Clarksville is texting me. He won. He was talking about just winning 9-4. He said won our first New Year's game since 2000. I think another thing that stands out to me about this win is just how Arkansas was able to get through this season and finish on a strong note. Right? Arkansas has not had a great track record of success in a bowl game. You have a losing record in bowl games, which kind of sounds weird, but you guys most of y'all are older than me. Y'all know the bowl history, probably including I can tell you pretty much every bowl since 2000. But when it gets before that, it gets a little hairier than some, and it's just nice to sit here in the ESPN Arkansas studios after a great conclusion to 2021 and start out 22 with a bang. Right? You're always looking for that next catapult, whatever it is in life, job promotion, new kid, proposal, whatever the case may be. Well, winning football games in some people's mind, it's better than getting married or proposal. Just ask some of the fans I have to deal with. Like I was talking about Eddie in Clarksville, he FaceTimed me, and I was watching the games with some buddies, and Eddie was angry. He should have been. They looked like crap in the second quarter. They looked awful. They didn't look like they want to be there. It was confusing. Defense had some inexplicable back-end bonehead mistakes where the safeties and the cornerbacks and linebackers just didn't communicate. And Arkansas got lucky. Penn State could have burned them a few more times, and they didn't. Mace, the audio sound okay? Hold on. It sound okay? Yeah. Sorry, let me turn your mic on. And now try.
Yeah, audio sounds fine.
All right, so with someone that's texting, I might be just talking a little too loud. So Kirby texts in. He says, so proud of this team, the coaches, the fans who stuck it out. What a rewarding season. Thank you, Sam Pittman and Hunter Yurachek, for looking towards the future. Yeah, Hunter Yurachek, kudos. We keep talking about Sam Pittman. I think Sam Pittman's this win is definitely not going to hurt him when it comes to Jimmy Sexton making salary negotiations. I don't think Hunter Yurachek has gotten a pay raise since he's been at Arkansas. I think when their head football coach does what he does, and I don't know what's worthy of an athletic director salary. I know football and basketball, we saw Musk get his raise after what he did. We saw that Pittman's going to get a raise. I don't know how much it's going to be. I bet that gets settled on if I had to guess. Well, I say that. I don't know Board of Trustees if they're back yet. School's going to start the 17th, 18th. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be excited going back to the school. Is it going to, I mean, explain this to me as a student, Mace. Will this be the number one talking point once classes start back up in about 2 weeks?
I don't know. It just depends on how the basketball team's doing at that point,
That's
don't you think? Because, I mean, like, by the time the 18th comes around, this is January 1st right now, so I don't know if it's going to be old news, but I feel like basketball is kind of going to be on the top of our mind by then.
Yeah, we'll see. The basketball team takes on Vanderbilt on Tuesday, and I don't know. I was getting asked by some Morning Rush listeners if they should go to the game or not, but that would be, I would suggest you do it. Hot Dog texts in, he's like, well, Jade, was this earlier today? Yeah, it was earlier today. Again, you're more than welcome to call or text in. It's 877-377-6963. Mace, by the way, Mason Choate's with us. I probably should have mentioned that from the jump. One of our employees here at ESPN Arkansas, and he was kind enough to cut up some plays for us. Let's start with Rocket Sanders' opening touchdown, and really a great methodical drive that Arkansas had, and Rocket capped it off with one of these.
KJ to Rocket, left side, touchdown Arkansas. Rocket Sanders with his 4th rushing touchdown of the season, and the Hogs are on the board.
How about the Florida kid and the performance that he had today? It's always nice when you go home and you have success, and I'd say Rocket Sanders, he had some success. I mean, you look at his statistics. He has 2 touchdowns on the day, 13 rushes for 79 yards, averaged 6.1 yards per carry. Listen to some of these stats, yards per carry. KJ was averaging 5.5. Dominique, who went out at a point in the game, was averaging 7.7. Malik, 17 yards a carry. 4 rushes, 67 yards. So, again, he is a speedster. I heard Quinn Grovey talk about it during the game broadcast on Learfield, how he needs to put some pounds on him. Yep. I think if Malik turns sideways, you can't even see him because of how much of a stick he is. I don't know who's skinnier, him or Connor Vanover, but definitely could put some weight on him. There's no question about it. And again, we're going to be reacting to this all on Monday. Morning Rush, halftime, Ruskin and Zach. Really excited to get into those conversations because I feel like a lot of people coming off New Year's, starting the year, are excited about just how this went played out. But it wasn't easy. And it never is for Arkansas. There's never just a football game where you're just like, man, they just dominated from start to finish. Even the Texas game, as much as you crushed the Longhorns this year, had some moments where you were like, are we going to win this game? Is this going to happen? But 24-10 is your final game. And KJ Jefferson, I'd say, had an okay game. Didn't have just a blow-me-away game. Did have those 2 interceptions. But Arkansas ends up with 451 total yards, 361 rushing yards. Again, I don't have the first half, second half stats in front of me, but I would think, Mace, that the discrepancy, I would almost think they might have tripled rushing yards what they had in the second half relative to what they had in the first half.
Yeah, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I mean, you talk about KJ Jefferson. He had, I think, 8 carries for 8 yards going into halftime, and a lot of that was on the sacks that he took. He took like 4 sacks, but he ends the game leading the Hogs with rushing yards, and he got MVP. I mean, you've been sitting here talking, but yeah, KJ Jefferson was named MVP of the Outback Bowl, so good for him and good for Arkansas. And
we'll be updating you again as thing comes out. And Margot Fermina says kind of what we've been saying at this point. Hogs win, way to start 2022. And I think that's what people are also, you always want something to kind of, again, I was talking about catapulting you earlier, to get you going for the first part of the year. And the basketball team, unfortunately, hasn't in the last couple days, last couple weeks, given you a ton of like, hoorah! But not to say, listen, it's not me saying that this basketball team, I will say, what conversation did we have about a month ago when you said this team was better than last year's team? Because I seem to remember you telling me that, and I seem to remember, I think you need to hold your horses and pull off pump the brakes a little bit. Didn't we have something of that nature?
I don't know if I said that they were better than last year's team, but I said they have a chance to be as good.
I think you were pretty rock solid that this team's going to be as good, if not better, than last year.
Well, there's still 17 conference games left. Am I wrong?
That's fair. So that is fair. I'm happy for I'm seeing, as you brought up, KJ Jefferson getting the MVP. Again, he didn't have his best game, but just running the football, dude, is just a tank. They kept referring to his weight. I know the broadcasters were talking about that he one of his goals is to lose some pounds in the offseason. I know he said that there, but man, he looked good. And this wasn't the. I wish he would have had a little better performance so I could just rail into everyone on Monday about that was the first game to his Heisman campaign in 2022. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to bring that up, but I don't have as much oomph behind that based on the 2 interceptions and kind of the plays that had you scratch your head a little bit today. And again, he didn't play bad, but he didn't play the same that he has in November lately. But offensive times, I mean, they've had a month off. You can talk about practice. You can talk about that. And he's missing his best guy. That was his first game without his number 1 wide receiver, Traylon Burks. And I know Burks has had injuries and stuff, but the first game that he's had him with, like, after this season is what's been happening. He did have a touchdown in this game, an 8-yard scamper in the third quarter.
Jefferson is in the gun on 1st and goal. He keeps the football after a fake straight ahead. Touchdown, Arkansas. 8 yards, and the Razorbacks have the lead.
Arkansas has 4 500-yard rushers this season. The last time that happened was in 1975. You got to go all the way back to 1975. Razorback Communications put that out. Some of you will know these names. Some of you won't. I don't. I'm just going to say, Sam, Ike Forte, Jerry Eckwood, Ronald Fuchs, and quarterback Scott Bull. Those were the 4 guys that had over 500 yards as Arkansas Razorbacks back in 1975. Again, the first New Year's Day bowl win since 2000. Sam Pittman, he's a guy at first, right? He's done it all year. First time you beat A&M since 2011. First time you beat Missouri since 2015. First time you beat Texas in the regular season since 2003. I know you beat them in the Texas Bowl, but so on. The first time you've gotten a chance to play him in a while, which, gosh, it didn't get much better than that. I was talking to, again, watching the game with some Morning Rush listeners, and one of the guys, Jared, was telling me that was maybe not just his favorite game he's ever been to, but it was just so incredible. And I'm still seeing videos that I hadn't seen to this point that are coming out about that game that stands out. And I'm going to be curious to see what James Franklin and Sam Pittman have to say about this game coming up. And I know Franklin's kind of at the podium right now, but it's where you're at right now. And I'm excited. I know, again, we got plenty of time between now and fall to talk about this team next year. This is going to be a fun schedule next year. It's the toughest in college football. If you think the last 2 years were tough, 10-game SEC slate compared to this year, I don't know what you think is worse this year, last year, whatever. This upcoming year is going to be the toughest schedule you've ever had. Ever. Not even close. There's not a single, you can't go through a catalog, a Razorback Communication, a guide, media guide, and tell me that there are 12 tougher games in their schedule. Because remember, they didn't play as many games back then. When you say, well, 10 games SEC, I'm telling you, this next year is the toughest it's ever going to be. You hope certain things play out. You hope Ryan Day goes to Chicago, so Fickle takes the Ohio State job and leaves Cincinnati. You hope Hugh Freeze gets hired away from Liberty. There's stuff that still could be in the air, but that's where we're at right now in terms of next year. But again, we're a long ways out from that. I'm curious also to think about this. We haven't heard much rumblings as of late about Kendall Briles and Barry Odom. Can Pittman keep them one more year? Just one. It's going to be really hard to keep him after year 3. Maybe they can. Maybe this is something that people like working for him so much. And I give Tommy a hard time a lot, and he gives me he busts my you-know-what a lot of times too, and we have fun with each other. But I'll say this, and I've said it on air before, and I'll say it again. He's very easy to work for because he just lets me. We have our differences from time to time, as every employer and employee does. But dude just kind of lets me roll. We have the show. I've shown that I'm capable. For those who have watched Suits, I know there's some of you have, some of you aren't. He's Jessica Pearson. I'm Harvey Specter. There's a respect level there, and he just kind of lets me do. When push comes to shove and something needs to happen, I go to him, or if I'm screwing up something, he's going to tell me about it, which is fine. But I wonder with Sam Pittman if there's just such a respect level for him. I mean, he'll rip into people. We've seen it in practice. What was was it Dorian Gerald in a Pit Trail Nation clip where you heard Pittman go, do the, I I don't know if he dropped the F-bomb or something. And I'm not criticizing cussing. I swear like a sailor off air. But he said, do the stinking drill or don't do the bleeping drill at all. And they got that on camera. And some people are like, whoa, I didn't. And it's like, he gets into people. He'll get into people when he needs to. But if they're doing right, he's going to congratulate. And when it comes to his football team, his players, his coaching staff, he's always the first to deflect. No, hey, this guy made a great play call. Thanks to our coaches. This ain't about me. He is one of the most unselfish people. He is always crediting someone else for his team's success, which if you're an Arkansas fan, you have to love that. You absolutely have to love that. Kristen Springdale, he said, so happy for this team and Coach Pittman. He's really excited for 2022. Let me roll these out real quick. Cincinnati, probably going to be a ranked team at home. I know they didn't have a great outing against Alabama. Not many teams do. Alabama, got them at home. LSU, home. Ole Miss, home. You've got a lot of home games that you are heavily interested in next year. I know that a good chunk of you are going to Garth Brooks, and that's going to be an awesome time, and that's going to be the most packed Razorback Stadium's probably ever been. But there are going to be some insane atmospheres inside of Donald W. this next season. And you got Jalen Catalon coming back. I hope this guy comes back, Mr. Joe Fouché.
Clifford avoids the rush. It's intercepted in the end zone. Joe Fouché. Fouché in the corner of the end zone records the Razorbacks' second interception of the day, and the defense closes the door.
I like that. I liked what I saw from from Joe Fouché, not just this point to this season. And I want to know if Arkansas can retain some of these guys. I mean, Bumper Pool, we saw him have one of the biggest hits of the season. It was kind of him and Grant kind of tag teamed it or whatever. But, man, it was a fun defensive performance today. And you give Barry Odom a month to game plan for a team that doesn't have its best offensive player, good luck to the opposing team. Because it was curtains today. And I'll give Clifford credit. He made some good plays, and there were a few times that Arkansas just should have tackled him in the backfield and weren't able to, but the defense came up strong and came up big today. 877-377-6963 is the number to call or text in. Again, we haven't had a phone call yet. I'm kind of surprised, Mace. What are you doing over there?
I'm just sitting here waiting for somebody to call in.
I am kind of surprised at that. Usually I would think that people were locked in. Eddie in Clarksville told me he was going to call. We got plenty of texts and comments on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live stream. Again, 877-377-6963. Mason is going to give you a prize if you're the first one to call in. I don't know what it's going to be. He's going to have to somehow figure that out between now and then. Let's go back to Malik Hornsby for a sec. I really liked what I saw from him. And I'm not one of those guys that's going to straight up lie to you and tell you that Arkansas is incredibly secure behind KJ Jefferson at the quarterback position, because they're not. There's a wide gap between KJ and Malik, but I did like what I saw today from Malik at times. I wonder if given more of an opportunity to open up the full playbook, if you just kind of give him, there's two Waffle House menus, right? There's the little small one that's more concise that they've been giving up. Whenever I go, I ask for the big old menu. And I don't know if it's being restricted or what it is, but I wonder if Bryles just gives him the big menu one time and Pittman lets him, if he can really go berserk throwing. Now, we've seen at times the Texas A&M game most notably where he looked lost, he looked bewildered, and it was a scary thing. I'm sitting there in Kansas City at the Peanut watching this game thinking to myself, we're going to lose. We're going to blow this. This screams classic vintage Texas A&M Arkansas in this past decade. Monteric Brown makes an incredible interception, flips the game in the fourth quarter, and Arkansas pulls it out. And KJ, just beat up and all battered, just comes in and fulfills his destiny as the first Arkansas quarterback to beat the Aggies since Tyler Wilson. But Malik, as I said, had a few good plays today.
Hornsby's going to stay on the field. Malik got to keep it. Option left. Hornsby inside the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Cuts back at the 5, stretches down to the 1-yard line. Ho-ho! Malik Hornsby for 32 very quick yards.
Thought we were going to have one for a sec there, Mace. I guess they got nervous when they heard your voice, I guess.
No, I don't know what it was. They were probably just trying to listen to Malik Hornsby.
I guess they're just listening to the Arkansas backup quarterback. It's Mason Choate and myself, Ty Richardson. Talking a little Hog reaction, a little different today. We wanted to pop on immediately after this game to give y'all instant reaction. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Twitch. You can react with us there. You can also react with us at 877-377-6963. I'm getting just a good amount of flurries of Sam Pittman this, Sam Pittman that, and I think Sam Pittman's going to make himself a little money, Mace, in the next week or so.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. They don't really talk about that a whole lot to, us, especially with Jimmy Sexton in and all that going on. But you got to imagine that 9 wins in year 2 after 2 straight 2-win seasons, and he made himself some money.
Yeah. Aaron texted in asking, hey, is there any word on the Dominique Johnson injury? I hope he's okay. Aaron, I don't know his updated status. I've been kind of scouring Twitter to see if there's an update. I doubt we'll get one until next week, buddy, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Kelly texted in, this is a great question, Kelly. Do we know if Miss Lisa made it through to the game? I was cracking up. I was one of my buddies called me this morning, and it's like, turn on your TV now. And it's like, and I'm in bed, hungover, just sitting there, and I was like, why? Because it was like 8-something. It's like Miss Lisa's on Pictorial Nation right now. Tara Talmadge is interviewing. I immediately sprint into my living room and turn on the TV, and there she is, Tara Talmadge with one microphone, Miss Lisa with the other. Now, I think most of you are familiar with what's happened the last week or so with her health. She had a heart attack last week, gets out of the hospital, recovers, and then goes to Tampa. Think about that. Heart attack last week, calls us this week, and we asked her, are you sure that's a good idea? And she said, well, she's pretty blunt. She said, I can die anywhere. I can die in Light, Arkansas, or I can die in Tampa. She said, I'd rather die in Tampa. Her husband, Jesse, was probably just sitting there like, I don't know what to do. I mean, what do you do in that situation, Jesse? I don't know what to tell you. All right, we got our first call of the afternoon, 877-377-6963 via call, via text. Cody is in Harding. Cody, you're on Hog Reaction. Go ahead, my man.
Hey, how you fellas doing?
Hey, we're all right, Cody. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'd say the Hogs played great tonight. I was really interested to see how we were going to do without Traylon Burks. It was pretty. I was pretty amazed about him going to the NFL this early, but I was hoping he'd play the bowl game with it.
Yeah, I was hoping so too, but I'm not going to rip him for doing it. Like this is a hard thing, Cody, because you love him so much. Like someone sent me a hype video of Traylon Burks for the game today because even though he wasn't playing, because he loves him so much, and he is such a fun football player to watch. And what I think Cody is underestimated around him, and this is only brought up when there's off the field issues, he's such a good kid. I mean, you talk to anyone in Warren, you talk to anyone with that football team, and listen, I'll tell you, like, if a guy's like, he might have some sketchy off the field stuff, the dude likes football, he likes to hunt, and he likes to fish. Now, if there's a more Arkansan out there than Traylon Burks, Cody.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's a good all-around player. I mean, he's going to do well in the NFL. I know he is. I'm just excited to see. I'm going to follow him through the NFL. I expect big things from him in the NFL.
You should, man. Cody, who's your NFL team?
I'm a Chicago Bears fan.
Okay. So here's what I want your Bears to do. Once they let go of Nagy, they need to hire Luke Fickell so he'll leave Cincinnati. Are you okay with that? Would you be okay with Ryan Day?
Yeah, I would.
him and Justin Fields getting a little reunion together? I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm glad the way our defense played today, too. Bumper Pool, that was a heck of a hit he made on their quarterback. That was a heck of a hit.
That was a welcome to the SEC moment, wasn't it, Cody?
Yeah. Yes, sir, it was.
Well, man,
that's how his Hogs hit, though.
I
like seeing it.
Think about it, Cody. He had maybe the 2 biggest hits of the year back-to-back years. The hit on DeJuan Mathis last year in the opening game against the Georgia Bulldogs, And then to close out the 2021 season against Sean Clifford and the Penn State and Indy Lions. You think about that. Maybe the two biggest hits, one to start the season, one to conclude the season, back-to-back years. Pretty crazy.
Well, I was just calling to. I'm proud the way they played today, and I hope for a bright future for Traylon Burks.
I do too.
I hope everything works out for him.
Maybe he gets drafted to the Bears, and him and Justin Fields make a connection, like we've seen a Mac Jones.
Oh yeah,
and Hunter Henry. So, well, hey Cody.
Yeah, he could. I mean, he's got the talent to be a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase. I mean, he's got the skills to be one of them, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, Cody, we really appreciate you calling in. Have a happy New Year, man, and call in anytime to the Morning Rush halftime with Ruskin and Zach.
All right, man. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, that is the first call of the afternoon. The credit goes to Cody and Hardy. Who's going to be the second? 877-377-6963. Now, to the comparisons, we had Matt Miller on, who long time worked for Bleacher Report. Now he's with, he has his own website, the NFL Draft Scout, and then also ESPN.com, draft analyst in ESPN. And what Matt said, the comparison I have that I don't think I was the first one to corn it, DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown, two Ole Miss guys, DK with the Seattle Seahawks, A.J. with the Tennessee Titans. That's the best comparison for Traylon Burks, in my opinion. 6'3"-ish, 4'4", and just physical. When's the last time that Traylon Burks has been tackled by the first guy? It rarely happens. He typically can break one tackle. He is so strong. He's got, what do we, the meat hooks is what we call SmackDown. By the way, I hope SmackDown and his fiance had a great time down there. I know he was down in Tampa. Miss Lisa, we brought up, is down in Tampa. Phil's down there. Hope Phil is having a good time. I think him, Chuck, and Z and Quinn and all the guys and Gino and all those guys, they're going to find their way into some margaritas and some cocktails after this win today. I think that that a bunch of people down there are going to be buying those gentlemen and some football players, some drinks. Just make sure they are of age, of course. We're not trying to get anyone in trouble this holiday season. I would never, ever advocate for someone of age, not of age, to consume alcohol. Chad texts in. He says, pay Sam, pay the staff. It needs to stay intact. That's going to be the kind of the conversation surrounding this football team coming up is can you keep this staff intact moving forward? And I know a lot of eyes and ears are going to be surrounding the coordinators, which is fine. That's a big deal, Barry Odom and Kendall Briles. But some of the other position coaches who have had successful seasons with their guys look good. I mean, you think about the running back room right now. I heard Dave Fleming and Rod Gilmore text in on the broadcast about it's one of the best running back rooms in all of college football. And you might hear that and be like, but that's just that's just being a homer. But look at the room. 4-star. A.J. Green, 4-star. Rocket Sanders, older veteran. Traylon Smith. I'm kind of curious about his decision. I'm curious if he stays or not. He's kind of now the third-string running back. A.J. Green had the drop today. Would like to see a little more out of him. He's just that speed Ronnie Wingo type. Dominique Johnson had a good game before the injury. I just love Rocket Sanders. Raheem, not just his name, Rocket, his nickname, but just the way he plays. I have mixed feelings about a Razorback running back wearing number 5. I know they want to honor it. I kind of like how LSU does it, where they number 7 on defense. You think about Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Derek Stingley Jr., all the great players that have donned that number. I think Ali Highsmith might have worn it as well. You have to earn it almost. I wish Arkansas would do that with running backs or players where number 5, because of Darren McFadden, it's not retired. Because that's a number that a lot of young men covet wanting to wear. So I don't know if you necessarily want to retire, but you need to have something. We've talked to Darren about this. You've got to have something surrounding that. I think that would be something that would be attractable to a team. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Let's go and look through some more of these stats real quick here. Again, just we're reacting 406 to 152 yards game. That was the difference on rushing. That's pretty wild. Arkansas had 3 rushing touchdowns. Penn State didn't have any possession. Yeah, man, I just am now seeing the time of possession. Y'all, Arkansas had time of possession for 36 minutes. Penn State had it for 23. Almost 14 minutes, Mace, a difference in time of possession. You're going to win a lot of football games playing. And I know Arkansas scores a lot of it, and really in the second half, in the fourth quarter in particular, they were trying to hold on to the football. But, I mean, Penn State couldn't get them off the field in the second half for a lot of the time.
Well, you talked about the assistant coaches earlier, but you got to think going into halftime, Sam Pittman told Kendall Briles, hey, we're just going to run the ball all second half. And that's exactly what they did. I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the Warren Thompson pass at the end of the first half. It's like, why? I know, why are we going to do that? So they go out in the second half and they just run the ball down Penn State's throat, and it worked to perfection. And you kind of talked about how Sam Pittman, he praises his assistants, but going into halftime, he said that it was on him. The issues that Arkansas had, it was a coaching issue, and he said it was an issue on him. So he took the blame for what happened in the first half, and then they go out in the second half and they run the ball, and of course they were down 10-7 at halftime and they won 24-10. So all over Twitter there was a lot of hate on Kendall Briles and the play calling in the first half, but I saw some tweets that was like maybe Kendall Briles hopped on his Twitter at halftime and saw, hey, let's run the ball. And sure enough, they ran it, and they, like I said earlier, they ran it to perfection.
I don't understand the Kendall Briles bashing at times. And I understand that it's very difficult to be an offensive coordinator, particularly in the SEC, but if you just, and again, this isn't a great game to just say, look at the progression of KJ Jefferson, because he didn't have one of his better performances of the season. But you look at this offense from year 1 to year 2, I think there's a great chance that it could explode in year 3. Now, I wish you had Burks. Man, how many times do we have to sit here and say, what if Treylon Burks had his freshman year under Kendall Briles and Sam Pittman? What if that was his freshman year? What if he was a class of 2019 kid instead of 2018?
2020.
2020.
No. Wait, yeah, 2020. Right? Yeah. Because I was 2019, and that was Morris's last year.
Okay. Yeah, you wish that wouldn't have been the case. You get 3 years, freshman, sophomore, junior. If this could have been Burks' junior year, that would have been special. And we know Sam Pittman's like, you need to go to the draft. I love that Sam Pittman didn't even attempt to try and bring Burks back. And I'm going to be honest. I mean, I heard a lot of stuff, like Burks is all Arkansas. He's about to get a Bass Pro deal, blah, 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 all that. I mean, all the stuff you hear that hits message boards, that hits social media, that hits Hogville and all that stuff. And I also remember when Hogville was the main Arkansas sports website, when university people used to get on Hogville every day because of how much traffic and what they were actually curious what was said on there. Now it's kind of spread out between Hit That Line, Hog Sports, Whole Hog, Hogbeat, and everything else is a little more all over the place. And we've seen that in turn that a lot of things have grown. We obviously are doing this show. I mean, 15 years ago, no one ever thought of doing a social media only show, but now we have the luxury where we're doing social media radio reaction shows here on Hog Reaction, which again, you can react at 877-377-6963. Ben said he loved the blitz packages from RD. Yeah, he came after them. I'm talking about Barry Odom. He came in a lot of different ways, and I think it was successful. And he would have liked him to have more sacks because they didn't have as many as I thought they could have. So sacks total, Arkansas only had 1. Joe Fouché got the wraparound where Clifford was rolling out, and he got him from behind. There was a couple. They probably should have had 5. But Clifford, give him credit. He doesn't look that mobile, but he had some shift. He had some wiggle to him. He was better than I thought he was going to be. It wasn't as I thought Arkansas could have blown this open. They never did, Mace. I thought this could have been a bigger game than it was in terms of the point margin and the total.
Yeah, but you definitely do want to credit the defense and Barry Odom sending that pressure, because going into this game, Penn State was missing their starting left tackle. And so as a right-handed quarterback, that's his blind side. And Arkansas went at that, and you saw Miles Slusher in the backfield a lot. You mentioned Joe Fouché. You saw him in the backfield a lot. And you're missing your best pass rusher in Trey Williams, but they still did a great job. And that, in turn, made Sean Clifford uncomfortable nearly every time he dropped back, especially in the second half. He was just, it's almost every time he dropped back, he was scrambling out to the left or the right because he could just feel the pressure coming. And that turned into, I think he had 2 interceptions, and then that one to Fouché that really just put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, they also tried some weird thing in the end of the first half, the fake punt I don't know what that was. It made no sense. Luckily, Joe Fouché, I think he tried to make an interception, but luckily he dropped it because Arkansas got it. But then the forced pass to Warren Thompson and also got picked up by KJ Jefferson moments later as it looked like Arkansas was driving in that situation. It was just an odd first half, and the second half is, I think Mace just kind of put it pretty eloquently earlier that Coach Pittman just probably told Coach Bryles, run it down their throat in the second half, do it in a variety of ways. And that's what they did. All right, our next caller is Rob. Rob, you were on Hog Reaction, reacting to Arkansas's 24-10 win over the Nittany Lions. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, we was talking about Kendall Browse bashing. Yeah, I don't get that sometimes either. But I do have to say, when you're averaging 5, 6, 7 yards a carry, I did question why we didn't just keep pounding the ball. But I think one of the things that why y'all aren't getting a bunch of reactions right now is I find myself kind of just speechless, man. Super excited to be a Razorback fan at this time. You know, we've been down for so long or whatever, and I really don't know what to say. But I want to say something. I wanted to say also to you guys, man, appreciate y'all giving us this a chance to react to something like this, man. Just so proud of our football team, proud of all the fans that were there, man. I didn't get to go, but, man, it had to make you proud just to be a fan, right?
Oh, Rob, absolutely. And I'll flip that on you, man. We wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for listeners like yourself giving us a reason to have all these different great clients that we have want to advertise with us. Talking about, Rob, where do you live right now, man?
New Blaine.
Okay, New Blaine. You're going to have to help me. Where's that kind of at?
I'm east of Paris, about 15 miles, 20 miles, and maybe west of Dardanelle, about the same.
Okay, so you're in our listening area. That's right near our tower.
I listen every morning, dude. Well, I listen to Morning Rush and halftime every day while I'm working. Every day.
Happy to have you, man. So, what I think has really helped us out, Rob, and what's helped us not just gain a more of a statewide presence, but a national presence with Arkansas fans all over, is this social media. This is a credit, and I'll go back and give Tommy credit for this one, because I told him when I first started working here, I was like, we really got to push this digital stuff because this is where radio's headed. And I think it's pretty cool that we can connect on this phone call right now. We're not on the radio per se. It's more of a digital radio show. But we're talking about the Hogs and stuff. I'm really happy that where ESPN Arkansas is right now, and hopefully where they're headed, man. And I'll tell you what, Rob, it helps. I haven't done sports radio as long as Tommy or Derek or Phil or some of these guys, but let me tell you what, this past year has been probably the best year of my entire life, because this Arkansas football, basketball, and baseball team, #1 in baseball, Elite 8 in basketball, football gets to 9 wins. I don't know if there's been a better Razorback sports calendar year than in my 27 years of my entire life.
Well, I'm 47, dude, and I have to go plumb back to the McFadden era, and that was, and then of course the 94 championship in basketball. I was a lot younger when all that happened, but in my adult years, this has been, I'm a super big baseball fan, and what a great time to be a Razorback fan. It just is. I think Hunter Yurachek is killing it, dude. I really do.
He is.
Not to take it off the football, but that dude is killing it right now.
Dude, go wherever you want, Rob. And we really appreciate your call, buddy. Happy New Year, and we appreciate you listening, being a Morning Rush and halftime listener as well.
Right on. Y'all have a Happy New Year. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, you too, buddy. Yeah, we'll go back. I don't mind talking about Hunter Yurachek. He deserves to be talked about. And I don't know him personally. We've had him on the show. I've talked to him off air a few times. That dude loves to win. There are certain, and I get it. I have to do it too. Like in sports radio, I have to talk to clients. I have to talk to this, and I like that. That's my dad, my grandpa were both pharmaceutical reps. I enjoy talking to people. It's kind of in my DNA per se. I talk on the radio, and then I talk in person with people. And You have to have these conversations. You have to have clients. You got to do that. He's got to talk to the big money donors. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. But I mean, I'm watching this video of Pittman getting dumped on in Gatorade. I'm surprised that Hunter Yurachek didn't haul 50 yards from the sidelines wherever he was and try and get in that bath too. That dude is nuts when it comes to Arkansas winning games. Go watch his reaction after the Sweet 16 win against Oral Roberts. Go watch his reaction after they beat Texas this year. Go watch his reaction when they beat Nebraska in baseball. There is an extra level of energy within a spot on this campus that you haven't seen since Frank Broyles. Think about that. Not talking about the overall makeup of the athletics director. There's no one that will ever be the late, great Frank Broyles in that area. But I'm talking about one key area, and that's excitement and that's passion. And that dude has it. And he seems to have people, and not to take away from his intuition and his financial success and that, but that guy has an essential part of what makes this state different. You have to have a little extra if you're going to be the athletics director, the football coach, the basketball coach, or baseball. You got to be able to, fans go nuts if you lose. You got to have thick skin to be a football, basketball, or baseball coach in this state. The athletics director is no different. If Sam Pittman sucked, which thank goodness he's not, for my sake, for y'all's sake, Hunter Yurachek would be getting slaughtered right now on social media, on these airwaves. But because he's winning, and because this is what Yurachek did, hired, and again, wasn't his first choice, wasn't his second choice, probably wasn't his third choice. We're thinking about 5, 6. I don't know. I can't tell you everything that happened with him and John Fagg in this hiring process, but he put his neck. There's a guillotine coming for his neck. He's right in between it and the wood, and he's hoping it doesn't land. And Sam Pittman basically just kicked the guillotine another couple feet, and it missed him. That's basically what happened. Sam Pittman just pushed the machine over, and the guillotine, it's not going to kill Hunter Yurachek because he would have been just crushed by Arkansas fans if this hire doesn't work. But it's working. The football team's really good. You're not asking for a national championship. There's the same expectations in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or Columbus, Ohio, or Los Angeles, California, home of the USC Trojans. I guess Norman, Oklahoma. You don't have those same expectations. I think people are thrilled. But here's the good thing. Sam Pittman's not satisfied with this season. All I keep hearing from him, it's a good start. We got a good base, good ground. This son of a gun said first thing after the Bama game, we thought we were going to beat him. We should have beat him. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this right now. Circle your calendars for that Alabama-Arkansas game. I'm going to have to pull that up real quick. Mace, do me a favor. That game's in October. Will you look up when that game is? Because that is the game that every single one of you are going to be at. And not all of you are going to have tickets. By the way, Brett bringing up first college football win of the year. Technically, Arkansas, Brett, is undefeated right now. They might be the only undefeated team. I don't know if the other games have concluded or not. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I know we're a long way off from 2022 football. Circle your calendars. Arkansas, Alabama, I think the 4th or 5th week of the season. What day is that, Mace?
October 1st.
October 1st. Is that the 4th game of the season or 5th?
It is the 5th game of the season.
5th game of the season.
It's right after A&M.
Cincinnati to open. South Carolina at home. Spencer Rattler. That's going to be a great game where KJ can show out against a premier quarterback. 3rd game is
Missouri State.
Okay. 4th game is A&M. Man, you start 4-0, and that is a tough start to the college football season for Arkansas. You could lose to Cincinnati. Now, I don't think you will, but you could. You start out 4-0 ahead of the Alabama game. If College Game Day is in that, I'm going to go to Bristol and just cause a scene. I don't know where Jimmy Pitaro's at, the head of ESPN. I guess it's not Lee Fitting. I can't think of the now ESPN College Game Day producer, but he's going to get an earful from me if Arkansas and Alabama are not College Game Day that week. I don't care what games that can be. You've got, at that point, what I would think would be 2 potential Heisman contending quarterbacks at that point of the season. But back to again, the 24-10 win. Mace, I'll let you jump back in here. What is something that was kind of big and stood out to you during the course of this game. I've kind of gone all over the place with this conversation as we're kind of wrapping it up, but I'll get your final thoughts here as we look back to this win today. And again, this will not be our final reaction. We're going to have plenty more of it all across our airwaves on Monday.
Well, we kind of danced around it with the whole Traylon Burks talk, but you can talk about all the positives that came out of this game, but one thing is you were expecting some production from the younger receivers in this game, and you didn't really get that.
That's a good point.
You look at, I think, Bryce Stevens, 3 catches for 5 yards, and then your other 2 leading receivers are Davion Warren and Tyson Morris, 2 guys who aren't going to be back next year. And so you wanted to see some from Bryce Stevens. You really wanted to see Keyshawn Jackson. We saw him out there on the field a lot, but he didn't have a catch. Trey Knox, 2 catches for 11 yards. So that's something that you wanted to see. You know that you're bringing in Jaden Hazelwood, Isaiah Satania, Sam Bakke. Like, you're bringing in some really good talent at wide receiver, but you wanted to have a veteran presence on the team, and those guys could have carried it over from, this performance in the Outback Bowl, and they just didn't do it. They didn't really have to, which is good. You saw that in the second half. Arkansas ran the ball basically the entire second half, so they didn't have to. But at least in the first half, it would have been nice to see it. So that's one takeaway that you can look at and say this is something that you wanted to see and you didn't see it. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be disappointed because Arkansas won the game, and you're happy about that.
Mace, by the way, little breaking news this this afternoon. I'm going to pull this thing. You know who just got engaged?
Oh, Traylon Burks.
Traylon Burks.
Yeah, I saw that this morning, actually. I think it was yesterday. He got engaged.
Yeah, I apparently that just happened. I guess I just glossed over it. But, yeah, congratulations to the former Razorback wide receiver. And he embarks on another journey that you're on. How old are you, 21?
I'm 20 years old. I'll be 21 in March.
And you're married already.
I am married. I got married in August.
You're even at 20 years old and going to be 21 in August. You're hold on. When's your birthday again? You just
March.
said it. March.
Yeah.
You're already a lot more mature than I am.
I don't know.
At 27, you at 20.
I don't know if I would say that. I mean, I feel like a lot of the listeners and the people that I see say stuff about you.
They would say that.
Maybe they would say that, but Ty, you're a mature man. I mean, you talked earlier about how you would never encourage somebody underage to drink, and that's a very mature thing to say.
We can't have that. We can't. By the way, this is water. I'm not Tommy. I'm not grossly mistreating the ESPN Arkansas airwaves and drinking while I'm on the job. If you listen to the Morning Rush, you know Tommy was just sitting out there coaxing on a beer, drinking a Land Shark out there and sitting on the beach near Gulf Shores and not Fort Wayne, Indiana, Fort Bend or whatever it is down there. I'm having to just bust my butt on a Friday, get things done. It's like I always say, someone's got to keep the lights on around here, and it had to be me this weekend. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition. All right, we're talking about news flashes. I don't know if y'all care about this or not. I have never been to Stuttgart, Arkansas. I have never been duck hunting. I'm going tomorrow morning, and I cannot wait. Thanks to my buddy Billy, I'm getting in a truck, hopping with my buddy Bill and Jared, and we are going down to Stuttgart. I'm going to hunt, see a couple buddies down there, and I'm going to the duck capital, not just of Arkansas, but of the world. I hope every single one of you had a great New Year's Eve. I know I did. Again, Spencer, Erica, love you. I'm glad y'all had fun last night at your wedding. For everyone else, I hope everyone was safe. I know Ubers, Lyfts, whatever were expensive last night. Hopefully no one did anything stupid. You paid the $75, $50, whatever dollars it was just to get in one of those suckers, and you got home safely. Again, make sure you tune in. Maybe this is just your first time ever consuming ESPN Arkansas or Hit That Line content. We have 3 local shows, The Morning Rush, Halftime, Ruskin and Zach. The Morning Rush goes from 6 to 9 a.m., Halftime's from 11 to 1, and Ruskin and Zach is from 3 to 7. Those air weekdays, Monday through Friday, so make sure you tune in to that. You can do it right here on what you're listening to now, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Once we come back on Monday, we'll be on hitthatline.com. We'll be on our ESPN Arkansas airwaves, ESPN at 99.5 up in Northwest Arkansas. Also got 95.3 up there, 95.3 Fort Smith River Valley, 104.3 Harrison Mountain Home, and then 96.3 Hot Springs Central Arkansas. We got big old stations, 100,000 watt, 100,000 watt, 100,000 watt, 50,000 watt. We got 2/3 of the state covered, and we got you covered for the Hogs. Arkansas takes on Vanderbilt in basketball next week. We'll talk about all that, but again, heavy dose of the Outback Bowl reaction come Monday. Hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your New Year's Day, and we'll talk on Monday.